Okay, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of All In Metals. Going to go over a quick market overview, but then step into a little bit later in the video some places online where I like to purchase precious metals, gold and silver. Primarily, these are bullion dealers and or refineries where you can buy cast or poured bars in various sizes from 2 to 5 to 10 ounce kilos and 100 ounce. Some even greater, but again, as many would say, that once you get into the higher sizes of 100 ounce or greater, those become a little narrower market. So it might be good to have various sizes in the lower range. But let's step into it here for a minute. I did want to go over a few charts. As you'll see, these are typical charts that many go over. The first one is just the 100-year stock market for the Dow Jones. Just kind of giving you an idea of when we were, and I mentioned in my last video, the 40 years since the late 70s, early 80s, the last blowout of inflation. And we see over the last 40 years, the market, this is inflation adjusted, has basically gone vertical. Obviously, we had the dot-com burst in 99, 2000, and then, of course, the financial crisis, 7, 8, and 9. But ever since then, it's been pretty much straight up. Of course, we've had the dip of the last 6 months since the turn of this year in 2022. But again, what goes up must come down. Are we at the top? Again, it's a fool's errand to try to pick the tops and bottoms, of course. But again, this reiterates the narrative around the 40 years of the Fed decreasing rates to zero and trying to lift off from there in a fiat dollar monetary system, which again, I believe, as I mentioned, is nearing potentially its end. So we won't get into that too much more right now. But the Fed balance sheet, at least the ones that we can see, we see the total assets again approaching $9 trillion. Much of that was added on from the 4 million to the 9 million since the pandemic. So also the overnight repurchase balance sheet is also climbed to 2.4, almost 2.4 trillion, and is still hovering at its high. Obviously, the inflation numbers, consumer price index, although this is a chart over many years, since the again late 70s, early 80s, you can see that this is the highest it's been on the inflationary basis since that time. And while this is a long chart, you can see that at the very far right that we have exploded in the last year and a half. Another newer measure that I've come across is the Atlanta Fed GDP now. Obviously, many of us know that there's different definitions of recession, but some use as a technical definition of 2 negative quarters of GDP. Of course, the first read, I believe, came in at a revised 1.6 negative for first quarter of 2022. The second quarter of 2022 will be released later in July. And this is kind of the Atlanta Fed's estimate of basic indicators that have come in through the quarter and most recently and updated to give a more real-time assessment of that. It dropped to minus 2.1 early in July. Looks like it's popped back up a little bit, so it's still hovering basically between -1 and -2. So that would be, if it comes in, a negative would be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. So that's going to be interesting to follow. We may currently be in a recession. Also, the DXY relative dollar index, obviously, basically on a dotted line, you can see essentially everything above it are extreme times, the late 80s, the dot-com bubble burst, and currently. So the relative strength of the dollar continues to increase. I could go into treasuries as well, but that's covered pretty extensively. We have a flat curve, actually just inverted again, the 2 to 10. So that's another indicator, generally speaking, of recession. So we may currently be in one. So again, all the more reason I believe to be looking to buy precious metals. So let's step into that and change course here. I'll go into some of my recommendations for some places that I like to shop. Okay, and before we get too much into this, again, this is not financial advice. Please consult your financial advisor. I did say recommendation, but these are just based on my own personal experience and research prior to diving into, find out where could I buy this stuff. So without further ado, I just want to show you my primary first site that I like. Probably my go-to, especially if you might want to maybe be looking to buy a little more in bulk and get the dollar value up. Perhaps keep the dollar cost down based on doing a bank transfer or a wire through my bank. I'm allowed to go in and do that via wire. Yeah, there's a small fee for that, but makes everything go pretty seamless. And by far, this has been my best experience of a place to purchase metals, and I really recommend them. And I find that their shipping is fast and very well packaged. So first one is buy gold and silver coins. Again, as I mentioned, for many reasons, they're my first go-to. And a great place to buy. Again, before I started, I did a bunch of research, Better Business Bureau, understanding the size, the organization, the makeup, etc. So again, I encourage you to do your own research, and perhaps you have your own experiences that might mirror mine. So the next one is SD Bullion. Of course, many are familiar with SD Bullion. They're a great shop. Generally have a lot of inventory and some pretty great prices, and just a great organization overall as well. I'm not going to go into the specifics, what they offer, pricing on anything in particular. But again, just these are my recommendations for some great places to potentially go to buy online. So the next next one is really kind of a indulgence, if you will. I really enjoy the poured silver, and in my opinion, one of the best in that game is Monarch precious metals. In particular, like their various sizes of 2, 3, 5, and of course 10 ounce bars. So it gives you the ability to kind of piece together different sizes. And I know a lot of people, and certainly in the stacking community, like to say buy 10 of each if they can in each of these 2, 3, 5 ounce segments, and then of course potentially work up to 10 ounce poured bars. So another great place there. Also, when it comes to cast bars, again, I think many would find this it would be an agreement of Scottsdale Mint with both their press bars as well as their cast bars. Like for instance, this 5 ounce silver cast bar down in the bottom there. But again, they have gold product as well. But again, when it comes to silver, a lot of nice little chunky bars, 20 ounce bars, tombstones, etc. So between cast as well and some poured. So moving on though, with Scottsdale, you can certainly buy on their website, but you could also run over to eBay, and that's generally where I have purchased Scottsdale from. They have auctions all the time, so if you're just looking to pick up some pieces here and there, that can be a great place to try to get actually a pretty good deal or a lower premium over what similar product or size product bars may be. So I do recommend eBay. I know there are actually a lot of good vendors on eBay. I've bought from many others, but again, cautionary tale, just be careful. Do some research, look at their information, read their reviews, etc. So, but again, I tend to stay with some of the larger sellers, Scottsdale being one of them, and they have a large presence. I think they've been on since, yeah, 99. Another one I like for both silver and gold is Liberty. They have a wide selection. Again, both Scottsdale and Liberty, in my opinion, also, just like SD Bullion, ship fast and package well. So I really have not had any issues purchasing from them. Again, Liberty has been on as well since 2000, so about the same time. So they're talking 20 plus years for both of these. They have 100% positive feedback. And again, I've not had any issues. They have a lot of fractional sizes, which is great. You can see some 10-gram PAMP and other 5-gram, 2.5-gram. If you're looking for some fractional gold, as well as bars and coins. So you can pretty much buy anything there, even as much as monster boxes. So that said, I'm going to leave it there. Again, these are just some of my experience. So feel free to share in the comments too if you have some good experiences and some others online that you have had good experiences with in purchasing from, and maybe why. But again, I just wanted to give you all some ideas as to where might be some good ways or options to buy, and these are anywhere from bullion coin to refined bars to fractionals. And again, I do recommend buying a variety. We'll get into that in another video, but this is just get you started and give you some ideas, particularly if you're new and looking to start with your first shopping experiences online. And of course, there's also your local coin shop, so don't forget about them as well. All right, we'll sign off here. Take care, everybody.